Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to present my study. I'm Inero Ancho from the Philippine Normal University. Join me in exploring the lives of Filipino teachers and how Thailand becomes their second home, and how these Filipinos become ambassadors of Thai studies. Filipinos living abroad are called overseas Filipinos, and a large population of this group is composed of overseas Filipino workers who are residing abroad for a temporary period for economic reasons. Millions of Filipinos are accounted for the growing remittance sent to the Philippines, and the number keeps growing annually as many Filipinos brave the foreign land to achieve their family's financial stability and better living conditions. Thus, the label modern day heroes. Filipinos settled in Thailand for economic pursuits and eventually found their niche in the foreign country. Their participation in economic activities has not been limited to working and earning money alone, but it also encompasses rich and meaningful social and cultural interaction. Eventually, as they fulfill their job and responsibilities, mostly in the basic education sectors, Filipino teachers in Thailand, being the third biggest groups to be given work permits as teachers in the country, have become significant agents of cultural appreciation and the promotion of Thai society from a foreigner's perspective. The growing attention on Thai studies can be mainly attributed to scholars and experts who continue to uphold the study of Thai society and culture. The nature of multi and interdisciplinary approaches to Thai studies also contributes to the interest in the increase in the number of Filipino in its peoples locally, in the region, and beyond. With the increase in the number of Filipino teachers who work for Thailand's education system, phenomenon could be identified as these expatriates also become an essential part of the entire socio-cultural landscape. As this paper highlights the use of indigenous knowledge towards advancing scientific and academic inquiries, the present study is anchored on the concept of eight directions. The inspiration of the paradigm was drawn from Buddha's Noble Eightfold Path. The proponent of the study strongly advocates the role of local and indigenously rooted approaches to analyze experiences and phenomena to provide meanings, directions, and interpretations. The overall figure can be likened to a compass, which is very apt to the context of Filipino teachers who navigate Thailand to live and work. The concept of directions provides context on being a traveler in a foreign country. The core represents the outmost argument of this paper. Filipino teachers as modern-day ambassadors of Thai studies. Sanuk, Sabai, and Suay as overarching elements are seen to be complementing one another, surrounding the eight essential experiences of Filipino teachers in Thailand, namely work, travel, food, customs, traditions, living people, and values. Filipino teachers based in Thailand were asked to participate in the study. The following inclusion criteria guided the researcher in selecting the participants. Number one, must be a Filipino teacher based in Thailand. Number two, has been a teacher for 3 or more years, regardless of academic affiliation, basic or higher education. 37 Filipino teachers in Thailand participated in the study. Due to location constraints, data were gathered through an online survey using Google Forms from February to March 2021. The researcher prepared a self-constructed questionnaire, which was first sent to 3 specialists for validation. A pilot test was also conducted before gathering proper. It typically took 20 minutes to finish the survey written in the English language. The results and discussion section is generally divided into 3 parts: Sanuk, Sabai, and Suay. And the initial presentation of data revolves around the reasons why Filipinos choose Thailand as the place to practice their profession as teachers. Overall, the findings of the study inform the role of Filipino teachers as modern-day ambassadors of Thai studies, given their context, experiences, and perspectives. As revealed in the study, the majority of Filipino teachers work in Thailand for economic pursuits. These include salary received, which is relatively higher to those enjoyed back home. Some work in Thailand for greener pasture. Some responded with money as main reason, and others noted that Thailand has availability of good paying jobs, and acceptable financial compensation. Do not just enjoy the salary, but it also coupled with various benefits, such as getting to know more about Thai culture and society, Thai curriculum, and adventure. When asked about the main aspects that give Filipino teachers great comfort while living and working in Thailand, economic and social cultural characteristics are identified. Sanuk, being taken as the equivalence of fun and joy, is the manifestation of looking at life characterized by fun and joy and not to be taken seriously under whatever circumstance. For economic reasons, salary is the most common response. Filipino teachers agreed that working in Thailand provides a better salary in terms of the work they perform. Social-cultural aspects also bring a relatively comfortable life for Filipinos in Thailand. Different experiences in the society, along with Thai culture, are the facets that bring physical and emotional pleasures to Filipino teachers who participated in the study. The participants were able to share how their personal experiences have contributed to their meaningful stay in the country as they perform their job as a teacher. As Filipinos live in Thailand for economic reasons, they assume teaching positions at schools at various academic levels. They also carry with them diverse experiences that reflect how they appreciate Thai values and way of life, be it in terms of their salary, compensation, or overall appreciation of life overseas. Whatever circumstances may be, it seems like the participants have found their own way of exemplifying Sabai, serene and harmonized. As teachers, they have affirmed their roles as members of the Thai society, even as foreigners. They also participate in social-cultural endeavor, and it leads them to enjoy the inner balance of life. Happiness and comfort are two concepts that serve as an overarching approach. Consider Filipino teachers as active promoters of Thai and Thai studies. The smallest details of their stay in Thailand reflect how they strive to surface what needs to be seen by others. The things that make Thailand an interesting subject of inquiry in terms of research, theory, and practice. Looking for beauty in everything is exemplified by Suay. The concept of beauty and being nice is experienced based on one's capacity. Participants of the study have assimilated the desire for things to be nice and beautiful. As the concept of Suay is given attention, Filipino teachers have also established their own way that everything should be seen with beauty. The present study captures the concept of beauty through colors and experience of traditional Thai clothing and vivid narratives of teaching that make their own craft attractive and meaningful. True enough, Suay as an experience is at the core of living and working in Thailand, especially for Filipino teachers. As colorful as their experiences as teachers in Thailand, the respondents have exhibited adequate knowledge and understanding of the society and people, enough to advance further interest on Thailand and Thai studies. Suay as a concept has made it possible for Filipino teachers to act as agents in igniting interests in the prospects of Thai studies. Filipinos they may be, but their frame of reference and experience has led them to be promising ambassadors of Thai studies. It is also worthy to note how some participants have shared imparting messages at the last part of the research instrument. It has become an avenue to share and convey whatever they would like to express to the proponent of the study. Interestingly, some of them were able to leave messages in Thai language. It is also an avenue for a participant to promote Thailand. Lastly, a participant posted an inquiry. What can you say about Thailand? The proponents of the study firmly believes that these inquiries are initial attempts on acting as modern-day ambassadors of Thai studies, even though in a subtle and informal way. While economic purpose is their main intention, Filipino teachers have developed their niche in Thailand, not only as expatriates, but more importantly as core members of the local community, sharing vision, creating impact. Thai studies as a distinct discipline is made dynamic by various driving forces, with Filipino teachers serving as its enablers in the context of education. Using a case study approach, Grounded on indigenous Thai concepts of Sanuk, Sabai, Suay, this research looks at the narratives of Filipino teachers and their contribution as modern-day ambassadors of Thai studies, as a global, inclusive, and encompassing discipline beyond border, race, ethnicity, and profession. Considering the present study, it is recommended to the Thai think tank to maximize the opportunity to tap individuals that could serve as agents towards the growth and development of Thai studies, going beyond what is seen and expected to assist in the propagation of Thai studies towards synergy, locals or foreigners, practitioners or not. Further intellectualization of Thai studies could be done by looking at the experiences of individuals from various walks of life, as it contributes to the overall blueprint of Thai studies, weave from various conditions and situations on, in, about, and towards Thailand. Thank you very much for listening.